Namo Buddhaya, Namo Ratanataya. So this evening we're commemorating the Parinibbāna of Venerable Bhikkhuni Yasodharā Theri. And this is a fairly new commemoration for us. Just last year and this year are the first times that we here have recognized this anniversary. So we're still very much thinking about increasing awareness and learning more and continuing to just kind of develop our understanding about how to look at this anniversary. So as Venerable Kachayana said, this is a practice of Sangha Nusati, recollecting the Arahants. And in this case, we're recollecting the Parinibbāna of one of those great Arahants. So the Parinibbāna, which is the entering into final Nibbana with the release of the body. So the Parinibbāna of one of the great Arahant disciples of the Buddha is really a momentous occasion. For those who are not yet fully awakened, this might feel like a time of grief. They were, especially those who were there at the time and knew her, it was really the mourning of the passing of a great presence in the world. But for those who are strongly Dhamma-minded and other Arahants, it's really a time of celebrating final freedom. So we have texts that describe the Parinibbāna of a number of the Buddha's close disciples, such as Sariputta and Moggallana, and the anniversaries of those events are recognized and remembered during the year. But what about the bhikkhuni's Arahanti bhikkhuni disciples? So the Pali text canon, the Tipitaka Mula, records the Parinibbāna of two of the Buddha's most outstanding Etadagga Savika bhikkhuni disciples, Mahapajapati Gotami Theri and Yasodharā Theri. The accounts for these two bhikkhunis are found in the Sutta Pitaka's Khuddaka Nikaya collection in the Theri Upadana. And these are the heroic biographies of the Buddha's foremost bhikkhuni disciples. And I encourage you to go actually read these yourself. There are freely available English translations of the Theri Upadana on Sutta Central and on the website Legends of the Buddhist Saints with a translation by Jonathan Walters. But what do we know about when their Parinibbānas happened? So for both Mahapajapati Gotami Theri and Yasodharā Theri, in the Pali Canon, the Theri Upadana records the stories of their Parinibbāna and implies the timing, but doesn't actually state it specifically. So about 12 years ago, Ayya Tathaloka learned from Bhante Sujato that the date of Mahapajapati Gotami Theri's Parinibbāna is actually recorded in a Chinese parallel to the Theri Upadana. And she learned later from Bhikkhu Analayo and Bhikkhuni Dhammadharini of additional Chinese and Tibetan parallels, which give more detail. And in those texts, Mahapajapati Gotami Theri's Parinibbāna is recorded as 1 week after the full moon of the lunar month of Magha, which is usually February. And so now Dhammadharini and others recognize this event each year. So we recognized that here about a month ago. You see on the screen a flyer from a commemoration in India that happened last year and this year. But what about Yasodharā Theri? So first, let's talk about who she is. So she appears numerous times throughout the Pali Canon, but is known by several different names and epithets. So for example, she was one of the foremost fully awakened Arahant Bhikkhuni disciples of the Buddha, and she's described in the Anguttara Nikaya Book of the Ones, in the Etadagga Vagga, where she is known by the name Venerable Bhaddakachana Theri. She was also a princess and the wife of the Bodhisattva before he went forth and awakened as the Buddha, and she's described in the Khuddaka Nikaya in the Theri Upadana, and there she is known by the name Yasodharā, bearer of glory. She was also the mother of Rahula, the son she had with the Bodhisattva, and she appears in the Vinaya Pitaka with the epithet Rahula Mata, or Rahula's mother. And she had a very long history with the Buddha over a multitude of lifetimes. She appears in a Pali Jataka text, commentaries, and manuscripts with the name Bimba, meaning golden. So what do we actually know about her? She was one of the 7 co-natals of the Buddha. So she was born on the same day as the Buddha. They married at age 16. She had their son Rahula at age 29. And then the Bodhisattva went forth, leaving her behind. So the texts tell us that she was getting news of his practice and renunciation, and even though she was living in the palace, she was mirroring his practice, removing her royal garments and wearing simple Kasaya robes, removing her royal jewels and no longer using makeup and perfumes, abstaining from the use of grand king and queen size beds and seats, fasting, and other austere self-mortification practices. So all of this during the 6 years of the Buddha's practice leading up to his awakening. So after the Buddha's awakening, he returned to Kapilavatthu to visit his family, and we're also remembering that return visit on this full moon. And the other ladies of the court went to go pay their respects to the Buddha, but Yasodharā stayed behind. And the following day, the Buddha himself went to see her. And the stories tell us that she fell at his feet and wept. The Buddha knew of her loyalty during the time that he had been away. He recounted to her a story of one of their past lives together, the Chandakinara Jataka, in which she also displayed her complete loyalty. And with this, really profoundly reorienting, she realized stream entry, Sotapanna, and dried her tears. She was age 36. Yasodharā then ordained at age 40, and dedicatedly practicing Vipassana, she attained the fruits of arahatship within the first fortnight of her bhikkhuni life, so within 2 weeks. The Buddha named her as one of his foremost disciples. Etadagang bhikkhave mamasavikanang bhikkhuninang mahabhinyapatanang yadidang badakachana. Monks, this is the foremost of my bhikkhuni disciples in attainment of the higher knowledges, badakachana. So there's a wonderful version of this chant from Empty Cloud Monastery that I won't play here, but I suggest you go watch it on YouTube. So as we're remembering and honoring Yasodharā Theri, we can think about, for so many other foremost disciples of the Buddha, we know the date of the anniversary of their Parinibbāna, and we have really tangible evidence of their lives in the form of stupas and relics. So does any of this exist for Yasodharā Theri? So these are the questions that Ayya Tathaloka was asking for 10 years, leading up to just before we entered into winter retreat last year in 2024. And we don't have records of these in the canonical Pali text, Yasodharā Theri Parinibbāna, but do they exist elsewhere? So there are other sources of information. There are Pali texts and manuscripts additional to the Pali canon, which record the stories of the Buddha, his teachings, his life, and his disciples. There are parallel texts recorded in other languages, such as the Chinese translations of the Taisho Tipitaka and the Tibetan translations in the Kangyur Tibetan canon. And Ayya Tathaloka had for years been keeping an eye out for any Chinese or Tibetan text parallels to the Yasodharā Theri Abhidhamma, as had been so useful with the Mahapajapati Gautami Theri Abhidhamma, but she had found none. So there's other sources of information. There are also old and diverse polytext manuscript traditions of South and Southeast Asia, both canonical and extra-canonical, which record smaller and greater variations of these stories and teachings, including compositions of varying lengths, such as summaries and elaborations. And throughout the centuries, people who are keen on making and sharing merit have invited and sponsored recitations of these texts, as well as the copying of these fragile palm leaf manuscripts, preserving and passing down these traditions within Buddhist communities. So to consider the Sri Lankan manuscript traditions, in 2009, Ayya Tathaloka learned of this book by Sri Lankan author and translator Ranjini Obesekere, Yasodharā, Wife of the Bodhisattva. And this has translations of 2 Sinhala manuscripts. It includes a translation of this Pali manuscript of the Yasodharā Abhidhamma. And this manuscript is otherwise nearly identical to the canonical Pali text, but it does mention both relics and the establishment of a reliquary stupa of great Therī Yasodharā. So what was still unknown about her? So about a month before we began winter retreat last year, Deepak Anand of the Retracing Bodhisattva Xuanzang project, who's here with us this evening, he wrote to Ayya Tathaloka asking her about Yasodharā Theri. Was the date and place of Yasodharā Theri's Parinibbāna known? Was there a stupa recorded, as there is for Mahapajapati Gautami Theri? And she had to answer, sadly, something like, no, we don't know the date. Old Buddhist manuscripts in Sri Lanka say there was a Yasodharā Parinibbāna relic stupa, but I haven't been able to learn anything about the location either. But then, just before the start of our retreat last year, Ayya Tathaloka had a feeling there was more to the story and that the time was right for it to emerge. She remembered reading of a Savaka Nibbana genre of old Pali text manuscripts and followed up, finding an article of Peter Skilling which mentions this. In a footnote in that article, she found mention of an 18th century Thai painting depicting the Nibbāna at the Walters Museum in Baltimore. However, this painting had been mislabeled by the museum as depicting the Buddha's Parinibbāna, though the painting itself has a clear caption in Thai script which says Nibbāna. In other words, the Parinibbāna of Yasodharā Theri. After an extensive search through the museum's online exhibit, since the painting is mislabeled, she saw for the first time a depiction of this great Theri's Parinibbāna. And here's the painting, and the caption reads, Nibbāna. So with this encouragement and blessing, she put out a quick online request to friends for any information and rapidly and progressively learned more. Soon, searching in Thai, Khmer, and Lao scripts, she found a treasure trove of information. So it turns out there exists an extensive, rich, and diverse Yasodharā Parinibbāna manuscript tradition of mainland Southeast Asia. From southern Thailand, from central Thailand, from Lana Thai in Thailand's northwest, from Laos in the northeast, from Cambodia in the east, and later in the program we'll hear from Seminary Dhammajivi about one of those Cambodian manuscripts, and from Myanmar in the west, with catalog listings and scanned images of some available online. But it's not so easy to read them. So Ayya Tathaloka contacted scholar Trent Walker, who's the Assistant Professor of Southeast Asian Studies and Thai Professor of Theravada Buddhism at the University of Michigan. And he was able to provide her with a link to a Romanized Pali critical edition of the Southern and Central Thai Pali manuscript traditions. So this was published in 2003 by a team of Thai researchers in this book shown here, with support from the Queen Sirindorn Anthropology Center research database. This is a collection of old polytext manuscripts of Bimba Yasodhara Theri Parinibbāna, preserved in the Pali language, as written in old Khmer Kom and Mon scripts. And as well as a study, the book included a critical edition in Romanized Pali and Thai translation. Title of the book translates to Examination and Analytical Study of Pali Language Editions of the Bimba Bhikkhuni Nibbāna Scripture. So, consulting with Trent Walker, Ayya Tathaloka reviewed key portions of this long Pali text, where record was found of the exact information we were hoping for, date of Bimba Yasodhara Theri's Parinibbāna, location of Bimba Yasodhara Theri's Parinibbāna, and record of a Chaitya Stupa of Bimba Yasodhara Theri's crematory relics. So, what does it say about the date? The text includes Punami Uposate Paguna Mase. The Paguna Punami, or in Sanskrit, Paguna Punima, is the full moon Uposita of the month of Paguna, passed down as the 15th day of the 4th lunar month on the Thai calendar. So this full moon is already remembered as the anniversary of the Buddha's first return to his hometown of Kapilavatthu, as well as also Suddhodana Raja and Mahapajapati Gautami stream entry day, and Yasodhara's stream entry day the following day. And it's also the lunar anniversary of the revival of Theravada dual ordination in Sri Lanka, and this year will be 27 years ago. And now for a second year, we are remembering it as Most Venerable Arahati Bhaddakachana Bimba Yasodhara Theri's Parinibbāna Day. This year, March 13th, or 14th in Asia. So this text also tells us about the location. Northwest of Savatthi, at her Bhikkhuni Arame, near the Achiravati River, now the River Rapti. And the text tells us about the establishment of a Chaitya Stupa for the great Arahati's bone relics, Atidatuyo Tupachetiyan. And some of the texts describe her relics as being the color of this flower, which in English is known as an egg magnolia. And so where are her relics now? In Sri Lanka, according to the Dhatu Vangsa, together with the Buddha's highly venerated forehead bone relic, there were Arahat relics enshrined in the 2nd century BCE in the Seruvila Mangala Saya Chaitya Stupa in Trincomalee in Sri Lanka's eastern province. Among them were relics of 2 great Bhikkhuni Arahants, Mahapajapati Gautami and Yasodhara Theri. So therefore, this is at least a more than 2,000-year-old tradition. So that stupa was inaccessible for a time due to the civil war in Sri Lanka, but is now accessible again and has been recently restored. And Seruvila, when excavated, was found to contain ancient inscriptions which corroborate the Pali and Sinhala Dhatu Vangsa Chronicles story. So in response to her request online, friends of Ayya Tathaloka in Sri Lanka let her know of a recently constructed stupa in Sri Lanka, re-enshrining a portion of these ancient relics of Yasodhara Theri. It was built by the Mahamayana monastic community of Sri Lanka, led by the Venerable Kiribadgoda Nyanananda Thera, which takes highly respecting the ancient stupas and relics of the Buddha and the Buddha's Arahant disciples very seriously. Here's a picture of the Siri Yasodhara Mahasaya Chaitya Stupa in Udupila, and the Venerable Vandana recently visited and will be telling us about that soon. The stupa was inaugurated with great celebration 10 years ago with the formal re-enshrinement of an ancient relic of Rahulamata Yasodharā Theri. There are also relics of Parinibbāna Bhikkhuni Yasodhara Theri enshrined in Thailand. According to a listing of registered reliquary chaityas in Thailand and the relics they enshrine, two Chaitya Chaitya stupas in southern Thailand enshrine Bimba Theri relics from ancient Thai stupas, which have recently been either renovated and restored or reconstructed. At Wat Doi Dhammachedi in northern Thailand in Sakon Nakhon, which enshrines relics of the Buddha and 24 Arahants. It also contains relics of Bimba Yasodhara Theri. Wat Santidang, also in northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai, also contains Pra Bimba Theri relics in its famous collection of Pra Arahanta relics. And finally, there are 2 sets of Pra Me Bimba Theri relics in the private Gunarom collection, which is pictured in a Thai royally presented commemorative book of the collection. And those are shown here. So as we said, we're still kind of learning and increasing awareness about this anniversary. So we're wondering if any of you can help, if anyone watching has any other information. So do you know of any other inspiring artworks depicting Bimba Yasodhara Theri's Parinibbāna? We're still looking to know more and know exactly where in India is her stupa. Is the story of Yasodhara Theri's Parinibbāna told in the Chinese text Tripitaka or the Tibetan text Tripitaka? And there are a lot of different variations of this story as it's been handed down through the centuries. So what can we learn from those variations? Are there other important resources we haven't yet uncovered? And what would you like to do next year to honor this anniversary? So if anyone has any information, we certainly welcome it. And I will go on to honoring other aspects of this anniversary.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Venerable Thavira. And yes, so these are good questions, and we do hope to have a little